another day project that we have to do. Putting in a little catch pen for a neighbor out of steel. So he'll be able to bring cows out of that gate or down this little lane, catch them in these two little pens, and then be able to load his horse trailer in this alleyway. So we're pounding the posts and notching and putting the top rail on, and then they'll come in and weld up the sucker rod and top rail. We just get it started and squared up, and then he's got a couple guys that can weld the stuff together. Hopefully get this, or at least our part of it, done today. Pretty dry, so we had him bring up a water truck so we don't catch everything on fire. So this is our setup when we do these steel corrals. Got a portable welder and the torch. Then if it's a big job, I'll bring in my plasma cutter and air compressor, but this one wasn't very big, so it's just as easy to torch it. So we start by pounding all the posts into a rough height, and then we cut saddles with the torch in the top of all the posts for the top rail to sit on. And we do that with this saddle jig right here that clamps on to the post, and you just trace it with the torch and it gives you the right saddle notch. And once you've got them all leveled, we do that with a string line. We just pull a string at the right height so that it's level, or not really level, but at least it's all straight, so the pipe sits in there nice. And once you have all your top notches, come in and set the top rail, and then just weld that saddle up. So it's a little bit more time consuming than wood, but in theory it should last a lifetime or forever. This pipe that the rancher had was a little bit scaly and not very clean, so it makes it tough. Then at the ends I just put a saddle in the top rail and weld it up like that, because another pipe will come in and do the same thing and sit right in here with a saddle. But should be a pretty nice little catch pen and trailer loading for him when he's done. Not too bad of a day's work. Little set of pens. Bring cows in this gate and either into this bigger pen or down this alleyway and into a horse trailer where that truck is sitting, or you can sort them through this gate into this second pen. So that's the idea behind it. When they gather cows, a lot of times a lot of stragglers up in the mountains there, and they just need to get a few in and load them because they have to cross the highway to get to their meadows below, which is that green there. It's hard to get flaggers all the time for just a few pair when they're coming out of the hills.
Just using technology to check where his cows are as we ride through the forest. Pretty fancy and new.
Shows them right up there in this part. I guess we'll see.
Okay. Hear one.
Huh?
Heard one. Where do you want? Where are we going? Come on now. They're beeping. You hear them beeping?
What?
They're beeping. Yeah, that's your big one, isn't it?
This exposure shouldn't be bees.
Walter, come here. Don't you have a fence line on the fence line though?
What? Yeah.
Few cows escaped the collars. I don't know. I think they're just getting antsy and want to come down, so they're pushing through it. So Betsy and I went out this morning and found them using the phone, just pushing them back up into the collared fence to see if they'll stay there. We got 2 more weeks before we come off the permit, so I'd like to keep them up. But a lot of years this is ate down pretty bad because the cows just hang at the bottom, but there hasn't been much for cows down here, so the grass is still really good.
Never get tired of that view.
Out at Stitt's place in Helmville, building bear fence. Been at it for about 2 weeks. Haven't videoed very much of it. It's just something that kind of tired of doing, building fence, so I don't get too excited about videoing, but I thought I'd show you what we're doing so there's not a big lag in the timeline here. I've put in probably 4 or 5 and rebuilt 3 or 4 of these bear fences over the last 10 years. There's so many grizzlies in the Blackfoot Valley now that the Blackfoot Challenge and some other government and nature agencies have started paying for these bear fences to put around ranches. So it started out just putting them around calving lots so that the bears wouldn't get calves in the spring when they're calving, and now it's kind of went to putting them around homes and all the outbuildings because they're having so many bears come in and they're scared of people attacks now as much as cattle attacks. So I don't know. I've built a lot of them, but I'm not sure if I agree with the concept. I think if there's that much trouble, then there's too many bears and we need to do something about the actual issue. That's my opinion. I just get paid to build fence. So we're out here on a rainy day just finishing up the job. We're doing undergrounds and gates, so walk you through a little bit of the process. So we put this along their corral and a lot of wood posts, so in the future if they want to put corral rails up along this they can. We did about 1.75 miles of this 5-wire. So there's 3 hots and 2 grounds. And they've had really good luck with these hot wires keeping bears out. And then we have to bury underground hot wire at every gate to get the charge from one side to the other. So we put in a ground and 2 hots through everywhere because we have the bottom wire on a separate circuit, so when the grass gets tall you can shut it off. This top wire on these fence is hot also, so that the bears can't climb over. And then the bottom wires are on a series of switches like this, because when the grass and snow get high, it shorts out that bottom wire that's 8 inches off the ground. So then you can shut that off and still keep the fence hot. So back out here at Stitz, we actually came out to help Anna load and haul her butcher beef to the yards where she's gonna weigh them and then send them to Wyoming where she has them processed. So I forgot to do kind of a wrap-up video on this bear fence. So it's all completed. Right here at the entranceway is where an electric mat will go in that they can drive over, but the bears can't walk across because it's electrified and it'll shock them. So turned out good. The Challenge, who funds and organizes this, was pleased with it, and then RCS, who also funds it, inspected, said it looked good. So we have actually 2 fences, one around the house and corral, and it's energized by a plug-in energizer, and then the one around the outer pasture is solar. I got that hooked up a couple days ago, and they're running it between an 8 and a 9,000 joules, so they are pretty hot. I'm glad to be done with that, and they're happy with it. So now once they get their mat in, it'll keep the bears out of calves and cows and grain and whatever else they have around here. Thanks for watching.